Welcome, everyone. It's great to have you here as part of this webinar. Thanks for those of you who've got videos on. Please do keep those on. It's always a little bit more interactive, or feels that way when there are cameras on. So thank you for that. It is great to have you here. And we're going to go through a whole load of things today. Will be succinct and hopefully it'll be really beneficial. Just a little bit of housekeeping. If you could mute your microphones whilst you're not speaking, just avoid that background noise. We do want to hear from you as well as see you. So if you're willing to put in the chat, just introduce yourself, where you're calling in from, and then everyone can see that and we can get a feel for who's in the room. We're going to do some polls throughout this session. These are anonymous. They'll pop up on your screen, and whoever's speaking at that time will introduce them, and it will give us some interesting insights into who you are and so on. So we're going to, in a minute, hand over to Mariel, who's going to introduce the CO community. She's head of global community here at CO. We're then going to have a chat with Ralph Goodstone, who's got more than 50 years of experience of leadership roles within brands and suppliers within the fashion industry. He's got some great insights for us. We're going to look briefly at what sets the CO Expo apart. So we're going to introduce CO Expo to you. And Laurent, who's in charge of our global partnerships, he's going to be sharing a bit about that, which will be great. And then I'm going to talk you through a little bit about the CO platform, the journey of a brand or a buyer on CO, and how you can set up your business profile in such a way that you appear higher in the search rankings and can really make an impact when a brand, a buyer lands on your page. And then we will finish, I'll give a little intro into some content on CO, and then we'll finish with a question and answer session as well. So just to briefly introduce CO to you, in case you're not massively aware of who we are. We bring 40,000 fashion industry professionals who are interested in sustainability, who are looking to build sustainable supply chains. And we've also got representatives from about 50 of the world's leading brands as well. And it builds on the work of EFF, the Ethical Fashion Forum, who operated for 12 years and did some incredible work prior to CO. We're big into collaboration. I think it's quite an overused word a lot of the time, but it's a concept we take really, really seriously. So that's partly why we love these sorts of sessions with our community to explore ways of collaborating together.
Andy, let me add something about the community as well. Our community values, as you said, collaboration is the key for us, and the community is there to support and connect leaders, industry professionals in order to thrive. Another one is doing businesses for good. And what we want to do from CO as a community is to lead the way and help you find those USP, that business practice and sustainability roadmap to help you amplify your communication and how to find the perfect buyer and perfect partner for you. And last but not least, it's all about leadership. We want to put you on the front, and we want to have this collective leadership to take sustainability from the niche to norm.
So yeah, so the CO community is really at the heart of what CO is about, and the CO community is doing some extraordinary things, and the CO platform is a way for the CO community to connect. And one of the things with the platform is that there is a ranking system of different businesses. And we are really keen when we set that up, that wasn't based on how much money was spent, but it's based on merit, based on sustainability practices. And we want to make it possible for the big companies, the medium companies, the small companies to all achieve their commercial and sustainability goals, irrespective of cash in the bank or marketing budgets and so on. Quick introduction to me. I'm Andy Showell-Rogers. Prior to joining CO, I co-founded a business called Visible Clothing, and I benefited for many years as being part of the CO community and the Ethical Fashion Forum community. We had a factory in India. I experienced the highs, the lows, the opportunities and the costs of supplying the sustainable fashion industry. And then in September, I joined this extraordinary team, the CO team, with one goal in mind, and that is to work with this amazing team to turn sustainability from a cost into an opportunity for suppliers to stick to their values and achieve commercial success, which is one of the reasons I'm excited about this webinar. Is a whole load of you in this room are doing exactly that. We're going to mention the CO Expo, which Laurent's going to share more about in a minute, but just as a headline for that, kind of some context. It's from the 12th to the 21st of July, and everything you hear about CO is kind of condensed into that 10 days experience of networking, of showcasing suppliers, of matching buyers and suppliers around curated roundtables, and sharing of insights amongst each other. It's a real, when we talk about community, there's a real aspect of not one person teaching everyone, but of figuring stuff out together. So Laurent's going to share a bit more about that later. Mariel, I don't know if you had anything you wanted to add on the community before I bring Ralph
Yes,
in?
I would really like to launch a poll about where everybody's coming from, so we can get a little bit of interaction with you. We would like to hear that. We know we are over 150 plus countries, so it is quite interesting to see where are these companies coming from, what are the sustainability other areas. So please fill in right now, and we will share during the Q&A session the answers.
Amazing, thank you. So Ralph, I now can introduce you all to Ralph.
Hello.
Hey, good to see you. So
Hi. Shall I give a brief
yourself?
introduction? Hi. Well, my background is as a young man. I was very worked hard and involved with Marks and Spencer's, both in stores where I ran various stores, and then I moved into their head office where I ran ladies' wear. And from then, I created my own fashion brands, and for 10, 20 years, and like Andy, became very aware of the ups and downs and problems and challenges, as well as successes of running your own brands. I then became very involved in consulting and helping other companies to grow their product. I became involved about 10, 15 years ago with the ethical movement, and began working, and really, I have to be honest, I'm more of a poacher turned gamekeeper, because when I think of my early days back in M&S, it was very much price-led buying. Those days have long passed, but we've a long way still to go, but that's where I'm coming from. That's me.
Superb. Thank you, Ralph. Could you share a little bit with us? I know you've, in the last 15 months during COVID times, you've had lots of conversations with brands and with suppliers all around the world. Could you share a few insights as to what suppliers particularly are doing well in this time?
Well, I don't want to sound patronizing or too simplistic, but the suppliers, in my experience over the last few months, last difficult year, when they've had a perfect storm against them, of those who have met buyers' needs. And what I mean by that is that there has been a deep breath and an understanding in the successful suppliers of where the buyers are. The buyers have had a situation where we're all aware of extreme buildup of stock, closed stores, inability to confirm orders, in some cases to cancel orders willy-nilly, the buildup of stock at suppliers, the lack of clarity in merchandising, the lack of communication. Now, those that have broke through those barriers have put the buyer's needs, and when I say the buyer's needs, I really do mean the beyond the buyer into the customer's needs. And the customer's needs have changed dramatically over the last year. But it was a direction of travel. It wasn't all about COVID. And the direction of travel was this amazing conversion direction to more casual wear, the main switches from and aspects about sustainability. Now, where suppliers have picked up those threads and run with them, they have succeeded. Where they have not, they have failed. And I would also add the pattern of merchandising and the pattern of buying is changing dramatically. Now, suppliers are well aware of that, but those who have been able to, for example, service small quantities as trials, to be able to service a small part of the total order in advance of the usual deliveries, who have been able to build up stocks where possible and create more design-led influences, those are the guys that have succeeded. So it's jolly hard work, and only the ones who have given attention to and research into what does the customer need, and therefore what does the buyer needs, those guys have succeeded.
And in relation to that, how are they learning about new markets? I mean, what are their routes to knowledge in terms of to pivot in that way?
They're learning. Communication is everything here. Buyers may not be able to give orders to the extent to which they intend they would have in the past, but they do have knowledge of what's happening in the marketplace, and the discussions and relationship with those buyers as to what's happening in the marketplace can influence what you as a supplier will be able to offer in a way that is even more crucial. But the other side of that is suppliers who, to be crude, are a little lazy on their offer, have had to really be able to create new product that fits in with the directions of the market. Now, you find the direction of the market many ways. You used to go to offline shows, that has finished. But there is a plethora of information on what is selling through your buyers, through your relationships with your fabric buyers, with your fabric suppliers, and even your accessory suppliers, on what's selling well in the market and what are new prospects. So there are, to put a positive spin on it, there's terrific potential in the market, but it is all about delving deep through, whether it's through magazines, through online, through your buyers and through your customers, what that communication is where people have succeeded.
Brilliant. Thank you, Ralph. And recognizing that we've got a big range of suppliers in the room, fabric, components, manufacturers, jewelry, and so on. What should suppliers be producing going forward? And how do they, yeah, I mean, you've touched on how they go about making that decision. But
I mean, I actually forgot to mention in my previous comments about where suppliers have succeeded. And of course, reliability it is and will be crucial. I think that the sustainable market is growing dramatically, as we all know, and that's what we're all part of. But that can be easily be politically correct, and you can be thinking you're doing the right thing by being involved in sustainability. But that demands damn hard work on making sure that your line of sustainability is accurate through all the structures and systems that you've got. I think one of the most important areas is within design, that you have to strengthen your design offer. And by that, I mean delving deeper into what is happening on the markets. And to give you one example here is within athleisure, which we all know is dramatically improving, but and growing and will continue to grow, and formal wear has its problems, which we know about. But within athleisure, 60–70% of the market is what we'd call premium athleisure wear. And if you're a jersey wear or a fabric supplier in those areas, what are the premium fabrics which you are building on or developing, or as a manufacturer, which are the premium fabrics you're buying? So it's delving deeper into the market, and the only way you can find that out is by discussions with your prospective buyers and a really close analysis of what's happening in the marketplace.
Brilliant. Yeah, excellent. Could you just touch on the three trends that we're going to be looking at in the upcoming Expo, with some of the examples I know you've got of good practice in there?
Before going through those trends, I would like to just make a general comment that overall, we in CO are defining these as 3 trends, sourcing trends, which are very important. But please, please, please put them in the context of what's happening overall, which is the development of online trading, the development of sustainability, the development of athleisure, and the development of luxury. So all of those 4 areas are contributing to the new reality of these sourcing trends. Let's start with the chill factor. Now, athleisure has been growing strongly, dramatically, really, for the last few years. Overall, it's casual wear used to be, in my day, started with M&S. It was a minor part of the story 20, 30 years ago. It grew to 55, 60% leisure wear generally over the last few years, but dramatic shifts over the last year. So something like 70% athleisure, leisure wear rather, including leisure athleisure, and 30% formal wear. Now, so the trend was already there, but within the chill out areas, it's brands, and I mentioned people like Sweaty Betty and Boden and ASOS have really successfully on design and fabric and fit developed the athleisure area, and the prediction is 10% growth over the next indefinite period. I would certainly support that, because if one examines the extent to which people are increasingly working from home, lifestyle changes, if you work from home, more gym, more leisure time, it's an irreversible, well, there's no such thing as irreversible, it is a very strong trend for chill out clothing. But let me condition that, because I'm not suggesting that a formal wear manufacturer switches to leisure wear. There is, or vice versa for that matter, there is a development of what I would call a blend of smart formal wear with smart casual wear. So within the chill factor, let us consider its links with what is now we're calling the new dress up. Now, the new dress up is really a term about formal wear. Well, we know formal wear and tailoring has declined for obvious reasons during the COVID and lockdown period. If you're not going to weddings, if you're not going to the office, there's less demand for tailoring and smart wear. But the trend, and yes, there is going to be a quite substantial return and uplift, but my view is that that uplift will be temporary when people have to buy for postponed weddings and get something new for the office, because there does seem a permanent shift away from formal office wear. The average predicted is that people which went for 5 days in an office will be going for 2 or 3 days into the office. So the new dress up for the office is going to be a mix, I would suggest, of smart wear and casual wear. The smart jacket with the casual trouser, the smarter trouser with the cashmere top. So there's going to be a dressing up, but it's going to be a crossover, which we have to be aware of smart and casual. The prospects for the market, which suppliers want to hear about, is the dramatic development of areas of rental and recycling, and in fact pre-loved clothing. I am sure people are aware of the dramatic increases in the amount of rental. Now that is usually about formal and luxury clothing, because it's expensive, people want it for a shorter period and want to look stylish on a regular. Now there is a market there which is about quality, and from a supplier and fabric point of view, is your fabric and your product something which can be rented better than your previous product? And by that I mean its quality, higher standards, its washability, its care instructions, the quality of its makeup, because the nature of the best-selling recycled and rented products will be that sort of tailoring and luxury garment, which can also survive better So your QC element of that becomes more important, but it is a market which is there for the taking. There are companies, I'm thinking particularly of the Fold and the Deck in London at the moment, and Vivian Westwood, which are doing well on this sort of development. So that's an opportunity for what we're calling the new dress up. Now, the third element, of course, is sustainability, innovation in that area, where it is becoming the norm, and it is becoming that which is no longer a choice for a supplier. Now, you know that, otherwise you wouldn't be on this webinar. However, again, that area in which you are going to put your efforts in has got to be carefully considered, whether in the chill out or the new dress up zone, because there are opportunities in both those areas. And to be frank, whereas initially people were saying to me, it is the luxury manufacturers who have got more opportunities in sustainability, because they can take on the extra costs, and another £4, £5, £1 on a garment is not going to affect their sales. That story is not as strong as it was. It's still the case that there are very impressive upmarket ranges which are encouraging and developing sustainability. But at the other end of the scale, there are the value guys who are putting a lot of effort into improving their performance on sustainability and on labour, etc. So there are opportunities at all ends of the marketplace which have got to be have the opportunity for suppliers getting into. It is not all about the luxury end.
Brilliant. Thank you, Ralph. We've got a poll now. I mentioned at the beginning they're anonymous. It's just going to be up on screen for 30 seconds, asking the question, which of the following 3 Expo themes do you think is the best fit for your company? And I am going to hand over to Laurent, who is going to share about the upcoming CO Expo. Thank you, Laurent.
Thank you so much for giving me some time to speak as well. For everybody who hasn't been in contact with me, and I know we've been sending loads and loads of emails to a lot of interested, suppliers and buyers. For everybody who hasn't been in contact with me, my name is Laurent, and I take care of the partnerships at CO Expo. CO Expo, again, as Andy already pointed out, is going to be the fashionable, or let's say the fashion sustainable sourcing expo during, July 12th to July 21st. So whoever hasn't blocked that in their calendars yet, please do that now. So I just want to quickly take, let's say, 2 minutes to talk about what CO Expo really sets apart, right? Because I'm sure we all know this, right? Many of the trade shows that we've seen to be physical have become, or, have gone online. We've merged into a situation where everything sort of becomes same, let's say everything becomes sort of the same, differently branded, but the same. So for us, it's super important to quickly point out what you can expect at CO Expo, and then also how your experience is going to be different to the experience of, somebody else. And I want to start with the matching profiles of CO Expo. But in general, of course, before I'll go into that, this is all built on the rule number 3, or this is all built on the assumption number 3 that we have as part of our program, that sustainability is the new norm, and therefore we also need to establish a new norm for doing sustainable sourcing expositions. So first and foremost, to establish the new norm of sustainability, we need to have matching profiles, or let's say efficient matching between buyers and suppliers. This is so important because the matching profile will then, in the end, enable us to work together efficiently and effectively. And on CO, you're not just getting matched as a supplier, you're not just getting matched with buyers, you're also getting matched with resources, and you get all of that in your personal dashboard, which is neatly packed into your, when you go on CO, you set up your profile, you have your business profile. This is when you have all that information for you. Then the second point, the virtual networking is one of the strongest, and one of them, one of the things that are going to be the differentiators in the end for CO Expo. So during CO Expo, this matching process, you can imagine, is condensed within these 9 to 10 days that Expo is being held. And during virtual networking, so we have virtual breakout sessions that are curated by the team, where we'll actually match suppliers with buyers for them to build effective and efficient relationships. So for us, it really is about finding people that matter and bringing those people, that matter to you, that matter to other suppliers, that matter to other buyers, and bringing those together to form a long-term relationship. Then sustainability ranking. At the CO, we strongly believe that the inclusion of everybody, no matter if it is an artisan or a very established manufacturer or supplier, we believe that everybody needs to have access to the market, which is why we've taken the very conscious decision of not, let's say, giving the person the best ranking who pays the most to be on the platform, but we actually reward sustainability. So whenever you want to be on top of somebody's search ranking, looking for a supplier, in your area, for instance, on CO, if you want to be on top of that search ranking, make sure that you have all of your information provided, that you have, all of your certifications, that you have all the things you do, contributing to a sustainable and, let's say, better fashion practices. And then in the end, resources and training. This is where we also close the circle. Resources and training is where the CO platform really shines, because when you become an exhibitor, when at CO Expo, you don't just profit from these 9 to 10 days of Expo. You also profit from the 300 and even more resources that we have, that are guidance for you to how to operate sustainability, how to be more efficient, how to generate sales in a more sustainable market, etc., etc. So these are the 4 things that really make CO tick first and foremost, and these are the 4 things that are going to make the difference for you when you participate. So imagine it a little bit like that. When you're a CO exhibitor, you of course have the spotlight put on you, as one of the exhibitors at CO. I'm sure most of you and all of you I've already spoken to have seen that we have an application process for that. And whoever hasn't applied, I really entice you to, or let's say invite you to apply to become an exhibitor as well. And then a quick thing, if you wish to, let's say, elevate that a little bit, really establish yourself as one of the thought leaders in your field, for instance, there are options at the moment where we offer partnerships to certain suppliers that are outstanding in their practices. Now, if you believe that this is something that could be interesting for you to really boost your business to your next level, to make sure that the market understands what you have to offer, then please get in touch with us. You can either send me an email at laurent@commonobjective.co, or when you apply for the application, or when you're in the application process for exhibitors, just tick that little box, I'm also interested in partnerships, and then you and I, or even your team and our team, should definitely have a conversation. And I think that's all I'm going to say about the partnerships, so a little bit of a teaser. One thing that I want you guys to remember is, no matter how we do this, either be it with expositions or with partnerships, our main focus is to really make it work for you, make it work for us, make it work for the buyers, and then in the end, make it work for the entire industry. And with that, I think I'm handing back to Andy. I'm the only one of all of us who doesn't get to have a poll, which is why I get to launch the polls.
Love it. Thank you, Laurent. That's brilliant.
Thank you.
So we're going to look at now, excuse me, I'm going to share my screen, and we're going to look at what a buyer's journey might look like on the Common Objective platform. And whilst we do that, why don't we launch that final poll, Laurent?
Love it.
So
I'm on that.
This is about what company practices your business does. So we're all about sustainability. Which of these company practices apply to your business? So choose as many of those as you feel is relevant. So let me show you the platform. So if someone has signed in to CO, then they will land on their dashboard. And some of you, I know, were in last week's webinar and you saw this dashboard. I explained it briefly then, and just very quickly look at it again now. But this is a combination of content that everyone sees, all 40,000 members, and content that is tailored specifically to you. And so if a buyer comes on in here, it will be tailored specifically to them as well. So here we have an announcement about Expo, which we don't need to read because Laurent did such a great job explaining it a minute ago. And then for me, I can see my tailored content here. And that's around the articles, webinars, whatever it might be. Really, really useful content. We've got over 300 resources on Co, and that number is growing. I don't know if you saw, but there's a new one published today, spotlighting some Indian suppliers who are doing some amazing things. In fact, some of you on this call as well. And then here I can see my individual profile. I can link to that, and then my business profiles. So we can have multiple business profiles, which if you are a supplier and you also have a brand, then I'd really encourage you to set up 2 profiles, one as a supplier to third-party labels, to private labels, and then one as your own brand, because then it's easier to match you with the right kind of buyer. And then here is notices which paid members of Co can publish. And those again appear on everyone's dashboards, all 40,000 people. And then this is organization matches. So based on answers that I have given Co before as a user, let's say I'm a buyer, when I sign up to Co, I fill out a whole load of answers, and that information is used to match me to organizations. So here are some, it's a manufacturer here, for example, who we'll be looking at in a minute. And that is being matched to me based on the algorithm. If I think that these are not quite right, then I can set my preferences by clicking here and ticking things. For example, if I want specific content or be matched with specific people, then I can tick or untick these boxes. So one way that a buyer coming to Co, someone who works for a brand, it might be, it might be a designer, it might be someone who's dedicated to buying, when they are looking for a new supplier, there's a couple of different ways it might happen. One is the Co SEO is really, really strong around the sustainability words. And so will feature generally very high up in Google. So it might be that they come to Co through the strong SEO, and either they land on your business profile or on some content, and then they later go on to find your profile, or they're matched with you. And there's a couple of different places that happens, including here, or they search for you. And if they search for you, they'll go to connect. And then they can, these are all the businesses. So this at the moment are brands, suppliers, every business that's represented, that has a business profile on Co. So let's say, for example, that they're looking for a CMT. And as we just looked at company practices, let's choose supporting traditional skills. So this will now filter. So these are CMT suppliers who have who support traditional skills. The ranking of this is not based on how much money is spent. As I mentioned previously, it's based on merit. And so the most sustainable businesses appear higher. So if we take a look at, let's take a look at mahirashaw. Shout out to Shari, who is on this webinar. mahirashaw here has a notice. They're a pro member, they're a paid member, so they can submit notices, and they're a paid member as well, so they can have more than 3 files within their portfolio. As you can see, if I'm a buyer and I'm coming to this really helps. The visual side of this really helps me understand what they're about, both the products they offer as well as the infrastructure of their business. There's then information about that business. There's information about Shari, and then more information about the products, and then their sustainability as well. So that any certifications they've got, as well as any reports and policies. All this information that mahirashaw have added to their profile, A, helps with the ranking, helps it achieve higher in the search, and B, it has a bigger impact when I as a buyer come on here to view them. So I can click through, I can check, okay, let's look at their certificate, let's look at the database that they're on for their WFTO membership, let's read their sustainability roadmap, and so on. The newest functionality we've got, and I will wrap this up in just a minute so we have time for question and answers. I've noticed a few of you asking questions in the chat. Those will be covered in the Q&A in just a moment. The newest functionality, which has just gone live, it's in beta. We haven't even announced it. So if you all would like to help us get it exactly right before we announce it in a day or two, please do make use of this. Go to a business profile, click send message, and then you're shown the different people who work for that business. Here we've just got one. So if I want to message this person, I will connect with them. And I can then say a reason for connecting, and I can write a message. If Shari accepts my connection request, then we can message each other back and forward. If she doesn't, then I can no longer message her. So this is one, and you can connect with. If you're a free member, you're limited how many people you connect with every month. If you're a paid member, you have unlimited connections. So as I say, this is a new function, and we've developed it based on loads of feedback that we got from brands and suppliers who are all keen on making that happen. Finally, if you are already a connection, as I am here with Shri, then I can just message directly. I don't need to connect because we're already connected, and then it'll take me to my messaging inbox. In order to add a business profile, so that all these businesses that were in the ranking, to add a business profile if you don't have one, so that buyers can find you in that way, then in this area here, instead of a list of your businesses, you will have a button saying set up a business. If you have a business profile, then to edit it, to make it stronger, to appear higher, which has great value in doing that, then simply go here and then click on your business and it will take you to it so that you can edit it. I'm going to wrap that up for now. We have content on Co. We're developing more content. As I said, there's more than 300 pieces. You can go to learn and you'll see a lot here. And over the coming weeks and months, we are developing more specific content for suppliers. There's a whole series dedicated to suppliers, and that will include case studies as well as other types of content. So I will hand over to Mariel, who is going to juggle the Q&A.
Thank you, Andy. So I invite everybody to turn on the cameras and mics and feel free to ask questions. But in the meantime, I would like to introduce our dear founder, Tamsin Lejeune. Are you there? So we can get started with some questions we got from the registration. Hi, Tamsin, I see you.
Hi. I'm looking forward to see. I hope everyone's going to switch on their camera. I'd love to connect with you. I know there's many in this forum who I am connected with, who've shown at our exhibitors, our events before. So thank you for being a part of it.
Tamsin, would you like to say something before launching the questions about CO Expo? What are the new updates?
Yeah, sure. So it's been a pretty exciting phase for us. We've been quite quiet, you may have noticed, for the last 6 months or so, because we've been building some new functionality. We've had some great things which have launched this week, and we've got more things coming, all related to how better you can connect, message, and interact with the others on the site. And we're also improving business profiles. Andy's been working really hard on the ranking side, making sure that we are raising the profile of those most sustainable businesses And it's not easy. Anyone who works in sustainable fashion will know how complex it is and how many factors we need to take into consideration. So I just answered a question on the chat. Richard, thank you so much for that question. It was a really pertinent one relating to whether you can see how well your business is ranked. This is something we've been trying to do for quite some time, and we're working towards it. We're getting closer to being able to do that. What we don't want to do is to do that to give you a ranking that doesn't make sense, and we want to really make it robust. So, however, we do have ranking behind the scenes, of course, which governs the algorithm.
That is fantastic. But also, you and Andy have been working in a great partnership, and this is connected to a question from Moho Panda Exim in India. They say our production chain is GOTS certified. How do we connect to the international market for the organic and sustainable product supply chain?
Thank you so much for that question. And what a great one. GOTS have been a partner of ours from the very outset. I founded the Ethical Fashion Forum back in 2006. Early days for the sustainable fashion world, certainly from the brand side. And GOTS was one of our founding partners for the Source platform. So we're now working to develop that partnership. You will see that anyone who comes to CO can search on the GOTS registered, certified. So, you know, one of the most obvious ways is through the CO community. We are a place where businesses come to source GOTS certified products. But also we're looking to develop that partnership with GOTS to make it easier, to put more spotlight on the businesses that are part of that network, and also to support more both brands and suppliers to certify GOTS.
That's fantastic. And I don't
for
know,
anyone who isn't familiar with it, it's Global Organic Textile Standard.
I was going to say, if anybody wants to pop up and ask some questions, feel free to do it. Otherwise, I come with a second question. It can be answered by you, Tamsin, or Ralph, but this is something that our supplier base is asking, is what are the top 3 things buyers are looking for when they're using a small MOQ manufacturing service? This is from Ferso, Cambodia. Would that be something, Ralph? Would you like to answer? It's a lot.
Sure. Well, if I really knew what's in every buyer's mind, I would be little short of a genius. However, I am a genius. It's not a problem. No, to be serious, I think the question is what is in the buyer's mind and what their needs are. They've had a tsunami of problems in the same way as suppliers has had. But what they're looking for, I would suggest most of all, the 3 things: that you have sustainable credibility. You're not pulling the wool over anybody's eyes. You're not doing any greenwashing. You have real sustainability. And you get that through your curation through CO. That you have reliability, that if there is a communication at any level in your organization with the buyer and her team, it is accurate, it is not predicting what you can't do, it is being clear and decisive on what you can do. And the third point I'd make is adaptability, that you have got a system which genuinely can adapt to a marketplace which will get more flexible every month that goes by. And that, by that I mean the requirements for flexibility on deliveries, on size of deliveries, on the number of times that you have to change your production lines. The days of the long, never-ending production line are over. So those are the 3 main things.
Thank you so much, Ralph. We have a question here. Someone raised the hand. Makren Kidaui, please come to the showcase and let us know what is your question.
Hi everyone, can you hear me?
Hello.
Yes.
Nice to meet you. I'm Makram Gidawi. I'm from North Africa, exactly Tunisia. I come from a small village, and I am the 6th generation of silk weaver by hand. But I'm textile engineer, actually. I'm not silk weaver. So I'm looking to start a new company, just working with the last artisan that's still in the town. We are around 50 people, and we can reach 150. But we are not ready yet with the communication, with some certification, and the certification, it costs a lot actually. And we hope with that it can be a cute solution for a smart startup, because we want to do handmade silk scarves, towels, and we want to do handmade leather for the bags and for the shoes and stuff like this, but cute, soft, and to reach some important client where we can make a partnership and agreement like this. I can sustain my community here. My question, is there any opportunity with no certification, with no big budget, with no we are not ready even with the communication. We are not present. We do things only in local level here in Tunisia. That's all, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Makrem. Tamsin would like to answer this question. Actually, we do have the 3D sustainability roadmap, and perhaps Tamsin could explain you a little bit more how CO can support you in order to get started. We know that certifications are difficult, and it also takes process, and they are quite important, but there are ways as well. Tamsin?
Thank you so much, Mariel. Yes, precisely. So this is one of the reasons we wanted to create a ranking on CO. We wanted it to be possible for any supplier, whether or not they can afford certification, to get a top ranking and match with buyers. And we also wanted, one of the key missions behind CO is to turn sustainability from a cost to an opportunity. So you don't have to pay to get to operate sustainably. I mean, certification is an important step, but you can get a long way with your ranking on CO before you've got specific, before you've completed any certifications, and that's through the CO profile and the roadmap, as Mariel mentioned. Could I have hosting and I can share my screen? I wanted to show you a couple of resources on CO. So we have over 300 on the site that you have access to, and one of them is the ability to download templates and fill them in and then upload them to your profile. And that adds quite a lot to your ranking. So here I've just done a quick search on certification for when you're ready to start looking into it. I'm sure you are already. And I just call out a couple of these articles. How much does certification cost? The top key guides, key fashion sustainability certifications. We also have quite a comprehensive guide on the comparison of the costs of different things, so you know where to start, and also which ones are best received by our community. The resource that Mariel was referring to is in our Sustainable Fashion Business Suite. So here we have a suite of content that gives you solutions when it comes to sourcing, when it comes to promoting and sharing what you're doing, and when it comes to your sustainability strategy. So I'll just quickly show you the roadmap, because this is something you can action immediately. So there's a number of articles which talk through how to create your sustainability roadmap. We know that our buyers are looking for businesses that are committed to our 6 key criteria around leadership. And one of those is having a roadmap, having a plan, having targets around your sustainability, credentials around people and environment, and working out how you will get there. So this is what the sustainability roadmap does. I'll just show you the resource. So if I download this, you can see a PDF. It's a little slow because I'm streaming, but this PDF tells you how to guidance around your vision and your mission, gives you examples, how you would do that, best practice, how this can benefit you, the issues you might consider. And at the end here, you can download a Word template here that you can then fill in and upload directly to your profile. And that will increase your ranking quite a lot. And also it will be well received by our buyer network. So I hope that answers your question.
Thank you very much. Very nice.
I would like to give the answers of the poll. We're running out of time. I hope some of you can still connect with us, but please, Laurent, shoot the sharing polls. As you can see, we have 45% from Asia in during this session. So thank you very much for everybody to attending. And go on the next one. This is about, the community. Next. And then which of the following 3 Expo themes do you think is the best? And most of you, 69%, has shown sustainability innovation.
Hooray!
Followed by the, Ralph, you were talking about the chill factor early on this webinar, and actually that comes into the second place and aligns to the conversation we had early on, that chill factor is here to stay.
Yes, yeah.
Definitely. So next. We can see here which of these company practice apply to your business and activity. Andy was showing us how important it is to highlight this in your profile so you can develop your ranking, so you can be seen as a top leader. And we can see as a response here, 80% using environmentally friendly materials. And second, it would be the protecting the environment and so on. Thank you very much for filling in these poll results, everybody. And if anybody from the team would like to add something before we close down this incredible webinar, please go ahead.
Yeah, I would like to say that during this webinar, the incredible Andy actually sent you a message also via our newsletter. So you will have received that. And I just wanted to say, relating to CO Expo, that in the lead up to the event, the sooner you get on board as an exhibitor, the sooner we can start promoting you. I'm going to post a link to the newsletter in the chat, but we've put the spotlight on 6 incredible Indian suppliers and creating an article around them that are really changing lives in the face of the pandemic, in the face of the crisis in India. And it really gets to the heart of what we're about at CO, which is supporting and rewarding and putting the spotlight on suppliers and manufacturers and of components and materials, as well as production services, that are really allowing business to operate differently. And so we'd love to engage with you, and we'd love to start promoting you. So any questions, if you need further information on exhibiting, Laurent's your man. And we'll also post the link in the chat for how you can apply to exhibit. The application form takes about less than 10 minutes. If you already have a profile, it takes 5 minutes to get on board. And we've also kept prices really low for this first one. So the first time around, we wanted to have a broad supplier base. We wanted to give an opportunity. We've always seen it as important that we can make it possible for suppliers, whatever their size, to be represented. And that's what differentiates us from some of the other events. It costs only £42 per month you need to pay annually. But we've tried to keep costs low, and we'll keep doing that, especially for those most sustainable suppliers, which we want to preference and give you the chance to participate for less. Thank you.
Thank you, Tamsin. We have just posted the common objective.co Expo register to exhibit. We invite you to anybody that is interested to contact us, contact Laurent. He has also left his email there. And thank you everybody for having us today, and see you at CO Expo.
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hope to see you at the event.